Imagine aliens visitors arriving on Earth in the remote future, long after the human race became extinct. Imagine plastics widespread in deep water, buried, fossilized. Some plastics changed into bitumen and oil. Bitumen is an extreme and hostile environment, but imagine some bacteria which can survive it, degrading petroleum with their enzymes and producing methane gas as waste. At the bottom of the sea where no light penetrates, new species of bacteria with unusual properties will grow. These bacteria will derive their energy from the sulfide and hydrogen-rich gases emanating from the Earth's hot waters. This group of bacteria will breathe sulfate. In this process they will retain light, in a sort of photosynthetic process. They will be fast-moving bacteria. A flagellum will be attached to the base of each bacterium, propelled by changes of electric charge. Microbial mats and mud will dominate the low-lying watery landscape. Imagine a flat and damp landscape, brilliantly colored pools, mysterious reddish, greenish and brownish patches of scum floating on the water, tinting the damp soil. Shrunk to microscopic perspective, a fantastic landscape of bobbing purple, aquamarine, red and yellow spheres would come into view. Multicellular filaments and textile-like crowds of bacterial cells would wave with the currents, coating pebbles with brilliant shades of red, pink, yellow and green. Showers of spores would splash and crash against the vast frontier of low-lying muds and waters. A bacterium is a team player. It never functions as a single individual. Teams of several kinds of bacteria will live together. Bacteria constantly exchange bits of their genetic material among one another. Humans have difficulty separating the concept of sex from reproduction, but sex is simply the recombination of genes. Humans traded genes vertically through the generations, whereas bacteria trade them horizontally directly to their neighbors in the same generation. Genetically fluid bacteria are immortal. In eukaryotes, sex was linked with death. Some mutant sulfur bacteria will absorb light to extract hydrogen from water, releasing oxygen. Bacteria reproduce asexually, replicating their strand of DNA. They may encase the DNA in a spore which can survive long periods of adverse conditions, germinating again when conditions become wetter. These photosynthetic cyanobacteria will live atop one another, and beneath the top layer there will be thriving populations of anaerobic purple photosynthesizers, sulfur depositors. Symbiosis, the merging of organisms into new collectives, is a major power of change. Life will begin at the interface of liquid surfaces where there is energy flux. New membranes will form, translucent packages of lifelike matter, semi-permeable boundaries between inside and outside, between self and non-self. abstract, a category, a conception. And nature has a tendency to evolve that which is beyond any narrow category or conception. All strains of bacteria can potentially share all bacterial genes. There are no true species in the bacterial world. The sea was the final resting place for human litter, plastics the most striking component. Accumulations of plastic debris formed everywhere. Low-density microplastics sunk to the ocean floor. Some plastics may host microbial communities. Some will be found as fossils. A permanent record of human presence on Earth. Species of small, biologically immortal jellyfish, capable of reverting completely to a sexually immature, colonial stage after having reached sexual maturity as a solitary individual. It does this through the cell development process of transdifferentiation, which alters the differentiated state of the cells and transforms them into new types of cells. Theoretically, this process can go on indefinitely. In a sense, the essence of living is a sort of memory, the physical preservation of the past in the present. Into the future is fascinatingly non-human as the past.
polvo intergaláctico, una serpiente de humo, orbitando en espiral sobre la placenta viva del universo. Nuestros cuerpos nacieron sobre ríos profundos, carne tectónica flotando tibia sobre las manos calientes del volcán. Escucha el sonido de los ancestros dentro de ti. Miles de lenguas mojadas brotan de la savia sanadora de los árboles muertos. En un río al final de la tierra, escuchando el desmembramiento del mundo. El agua lava tus heridas abiertas ante el furor alegre de las 9 lunas. Contrae y expande tu cuerpo flexible. Adopta el ritmo de la serpiente sagrada. Contempla sus capas de piel encriptada y que tus ojos estallen en una supernova. Elige un punto cercano al agua y extiende tus llamas sensoriales. Percibe los átomos de nitrógeno. Con las manos, mételas en la tierra y siente cómo gira contigo. Aprende las virtudes de la lombriz sin ojos. Activa la semilla del mundo, ese nudo molecular entre las cosas. Criaturas tejedoras cantan al Flourishing, hilando mundos de amores y lamentos, elevando una geometría de sueños, brillando en la agonía de las sombras. El cielo llora detrás de tus párpados, llenando el agujero negro de tus pupilas. Siente el pulso oscilante del cosmos, celebrando el latido del Ubuntu. Yo soy porque nosotros somos.
Человеческое тело изменилось. Оно стало более флюидным, биотехногенным. Оно преодолело границы своего гендера и стало медианосителем. Будущее как реальности уже наступило. Тело продолжит изменяться и стремиться не только к технологичному улучшению, но и к верности. Сможет ли гетеронормативная медицина соответствовать требованиям нового бинарного тела? Биология и медицина все еще оперируют бинарными категориями. Они находятся в плену гендерного конструкта и исключают людей, которые не попадают в категорию мужского и женского, что означает, что технологии, которые они используют, работают по тому же принципу. У кого есть привилегия получать медицинскую помощь, не испытывать стыда и стигматизацию. Что если существует версия будущего, в которой медицинские технологии становятся такими же флюидными, как и новое человеческое тело, а биология не программирует тело, но подстраивается под него? Медицинская система сосредоточена на здоровье теле, которым мы наследуем, и потом полностью обладаем, а не вокруг болезней и тотального биоконтроля. Инструменты для оперирования на новом теле – это устройство, выращенное на основе человеческого ДНК, клеток и компьютерного кода, который не играет активную роль между физического органа и лечения. Это небинарное тело, эти организмы флюиды и способны изменять свою форму, чтобы индивидуально подстраиваться под тело вне зависимости от его пола и гендера и распознавать болезни на молекулярном уровне. Эти устройства, созданные с цифрового переработанного биоматериала, следуют логике, по которой биологическое порождает цифровое, а цифровое воплощает биологическое. Гибриды органического и неорганического. Синтез человеческих клеток и интегрированных клеток. Они воплощают постчеловеческую мечту в совместном развитии людей и мышей. Исследование организмов, которые соединяют в себе человеческий ДНК и компьютерный код, плоти машины, которые позволяют внедряться в организм на молекулярном уровне, ведутся уже давно. И пророчествовать будущей молекулярной биологии и медицины. Тем не менее, вопрос, как их воспринимать, остается открытым. Как цифровые инструменты или живые организмы. Насколько они бинарны. Главное, будут ли они помогать телу, или же контролировать его.
This substance is the most deadliest poison known to man. 1 teaspoon of it, released into the air, could kill thousands of people. Its name is botulinum toxin. It kills by denervation, or the slow paralysis of the nerve endings in your body from the head downward. And finally, you are unable to breathe. But this woman has paid hundreds of dollars to be injected with the toxin. Botox uses a highly diluted form of botulinum. When a minute amount is injected into the forehead, it paralyzes the muscles. No more frowning, so no more wrinkles. And it's the latest craze for people determined to stay youthful.
Really sorry to hear that. Hey, hang in there, buddy. Take care now, okay?
And that's the latest set.
Doesn't have a label on it or anything.
It's a fresh batch that came in this morning.
How can I trust that it's real? Besides, everything else out there is fake these days.
Well, you're just gonna have to take my word for it.
I'll be able to save up a large enough chunk of money for the med spa.
I'm sure that'll make her very happy.
My wife? No, not for my wife.
Oh,
Present to myself. Bunch of facials, injectables. Maybe that flotation therapy they keep talking about.
Look, Jack, I told you. The red lady from the spa's back. Look. Well, there she is. Now do you believe me?
Botox. One person is dead, at least 23 others have been hospitalized after
Authorities have cracked down on a counterfeit Botox ring this morning that they've determined to be the main cause of the town's botulism outbreaks. The shipping labels on a majority of these packages of counterfeit vials were addressed to Sybarite Spa. The med spa is yet to issue an official statement on the crackdown, but is said to be continuing to carry out
What is the creature that walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 in the evening? This is the riddle of the Sphinx, a creature with a human head, lion body, and eagle wings. It is the guardian of the ancient city of Thebes and kills those who cannot solve the riddle. The answer to the riddle is human. Because in infancy, humans crawl on all 4s using the hands as feet. They walk on 2 legs in adulthood and use a cane to walk and become 3-legged when they are old. The riddle not only reports the flow of time in the direction of death, but also points to the multi-layered union of different time forms. 60 years of a human may correspond to the noon of the Sphinx, and it is this conception of relativity that perhaps made Oedipus solve the riddle. This desert landscape by Jean-Léon Gérôme is also known as Oedipus, but the man standing before the great Sphinx of Giza is Napoleon Bonaparte, not Oedipus. In the face of the huge relic, he seems to be realizing his own small scale. His lifespan is roughly 1/60th of the life of the ancient Egyptian civilization, about 190 millionth of the life of Earth, and about 270 millionths of the life of the universe. This is a scale that trivializes humans and their victories. So, humans ignore it. They keep their tiny hours running their tiny interests, but this process is so ambitious that it manages to affect a much larger operation than itself. Humans can speed up the clock of the world and shorten its lifespan. For centuries, the world has been measured inch by inch, with every new object and concept that is accessible. But with industrialization, it's entered a brand new digitization phase. Length units have been divided into time units so that various speed units could be produced. For the flow of production, time has been monitored with great care and has been calibrated unit by unit on a global scale. The productivity-oriented method of organization has spread from mass production areas to everywhere, and daily life has been divided into parts where duration, steps, resources, and movements are determined. The saying time is money is true. Time has an exchange value. Moreover, there are various methods of bending time. The tea mixture that accelerates metabolism, the shampoo that accelerates hair growth, the spray that accelerates tanning, steroids that accelerate bodybuilding, artificial lighting programs that accelerate chicken growth, microwaves that accelerate food heating, fast food that accelerates the act of eating, refrigerators, packaging, and preservative substances that slow down rotting, muscle freezing Botox and hair freezing spray, photography and video that conserves light, the coin box, the dam, the deposit account, the gold day, and the bottoms of pillows are for saving. The morning after pill, eraser, undo command, data recovery utility, and stain remover. All clocks are based on an oscillator, a frequency that ticks regularly, something that always returns to the starting point in the same amount of time. This can also be a group of flowers. Carl Linnaeus, who separated the plants according to their opening and closing times, had such a project. All perceived frequencies of nature have organized the small times of humanity through the ages. Now, humans are after subatomic frequencies that they cannot perceive but measure. The zeptosecond, today's smallest unit of time, is a trillionth of a billionth of a second. This is the rate at which a photon moves through a hydrogen molecule. We are expanding into the subatomic and to outer space with a relentless speed and appetite. So are we really moving forward? We're speeding up a big clock with our little ambitions. We are building a time bomb, ready to explode with our endless carbon dioxide emissions. Ocean and seawater levels will rise as the temperature rises. The glaciers will melt. Drought, fires, floods, and extreme weather events will become frequent and severe. Coastal habitats will disappear and some living ecosystems will become extinct. We will face the immigration and poverty even harder. The climate crisis is not a mythological creature, but a reality we are experiencing. If we do not transform our infrastructure, we will soon run out of our time in the world. Our little clock will stop, but the big clock will continue to run.
la vidéo. Je pense qu'il faut qu'on fasse des tests d'ailleurs. Et d'ailleurs, on devait aller sur... pour acheter le vidéoprojecteur. Le petit truc dont je t'ai parlé. Et... je sais pas. Mais en tout cas, demain, il faut que j'aille pas trop tard à l'atelier. Alors tu m'en veux pas. Tu m'en veux tôt. D'accord. Et... bah voilà. Mais si tu veux, tu peux me rejoindre à un moment. Il faut de toute façon que j'achète des choses pour le verre. Peut-être de la mousse expansive. Et des bâches pour continuer de travailler. Si tu veux, tu peux m'accompagner demain. On prend un café dehors et on y va tous les deux. Mais tu dois travailler, je crois. Alors on se retrouve après peut-être. Et à la fin, si on n'est pas trop fatigué, on prend un bain, tous les deux. Si on n'est pas trop fatigué. Non, tu veux pas? Oui, t'es d'accord? Et j'aimerais bien voir les images que t'as prises à l'appart aujourd'hui. Parce qu'ils ont un petit chat. Ah non, il attend quelqu'un. Et ouais. Il y avait un oiseau mort. Des grillons. Il y a des couchers de soleil, mais ça m'arrive jamais. Je prends jamais trop le temps de regarder le ciel. Tu veux faire une balade? Oui. C'est trop tard. C'est le couvre-feu. Tout ce qu'on peut faire maintenant, c'est boire ici. Tu finis pas ton pain. Non. C'est moi l'alcoolique. C'est ça. Je le savais. Je sais pas. C'est drôle parce qu'ici en Europe c'est très long. Et quand tu vas, je sais pas, des endroits c'est très rapide. Le soleil se couche hyper vite. Ça fait très bizarre du coup de... c'est différent. Peut-être que j'observe ça que quand je suis en vacances. Du coup demain matin on se tient... demain soir on se tient au courant. Je pense que... oui, comme je dis, je vais partir tôt et je sais pas à quelle heure je rentre. Donc, on va voir parce qu'on a plein de choses à construire en fait dans la galerie. Disons qu'on va filmer le démontage de ce qu'aurait pu être l'exposition dans l'espace. C'est-à-dire pas dans la vitrine. Et j'aimerais bien filmer pendant la nuit. Et on va projeter la vidéo ce que c'est. Pour l'instant, on va voir. Et tu sais, ça va être la dernière exposition de cette galerie. Après, ils vont devoir fermer. Parce que le bâtiment est racheté, quelque chose comme ça.
Welcome to the wilderness, the Amazon rainforest. 40,000 species of plants, more than 400 mammals, almost 1,300 birds, millions of insects. It is vast, abundant, sublime. Smoothly sliding through this lush environment, crisp rainforest air circulating through your lungs. Take a deep breath. The smooth, unnatural camera movement suggests the absence of the human, as if we are the first to uncover this unspoiled surface, the first to step foot on this moist soil. And yet, this image seems so familiar. Don't we all have a memory of such a place? Welcome to the wilderness. Dirt, leaves, a fallen tree. Behind it, a phone in the dirt. Looking around with irregular movements, through the environment that until a few moments ago appeared to be seamless. It's all a matter of perspective. Who owns the right to nature? This branch has been stolen by using an illegal torrent website. We can see some of the cracks, but we cannot actually go to the cracks as our movement is controlled. Have you ever really been in nature? There appears to be a gap between the wild and the imagination of the wild. The wilderness hides its unnaturalness behind a mask, which is deceiving because it seems so natural. As we gaze into the mirror it holds up for us, we too easily imagine that what we behold is nature, when in fact we see the reflection of our own unexamined longings and desires. Welcome to the wilderness. Technology gives us the possibility to zoom out. Now that we see the whole picture, we can also see what's missing. The complete rainforest from before was just one frame within a construct, a seemingly unique environment built from the same samples and the same models. We are now looking at a stage in which our perspective and camera movement defines our image of reality. We assume it's the rainforest because we've seen similar images of a rainforest. Mesh structure is like scaffolding, an indication of construction. Has this tree ever been in the Amazon? It's a collage of textures and shapes. Reality is rendered from our own imagination that's limited by economy. Are we watching nature or are we watching technology? In an attempt to salvage nature, technology is used to monitor nature. Nature becomes technological in order to remain natural. If a tree falls in the jungle, it creates an open space for other smaller plants to grow, thus enhancing biodiversity. The rotten tree becomes the soil that feeds the fungi and small organisms. Welcome to the wilderness. A plant from Sketchfab can be bought for $9.90. PayPal or credit card is accepted. Free plants are also available, but less detailed. The only free jungle plants are jungle plants in pots. Does this monstera look good with this parquet wooden floor? The distinction between human and nature is a man-made construct that created an outside and an inside world. Inside is the bubble from where the outside is designed. We are mistaken to think that wilderness can be the solution to our culture's problems with the non-human world, as the concept of wilderness is itself part of the problem. So, let's imagine another jungle. Wilderness as the last remaining place where civilization, that human disease, has not fully infected the earth. An island in the polluted sea of urban industrial modernity. A refuge we must somehow recover if we hope to save the planet.
You are frenetically racing with stress. Nothing remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. Your body was utterly shattered. And here you are, adapting to new worlds. Look here, all of us are built for dealing with short bursts of healthy stress. When the stressful event is over, the body normally, naturally, returns to balance within hours. But in the case of chronic stress, the body might never return to balance for days. Because of our large brains, human beings are capable of thinking about their problems, revealing past events, or even forecasting future worst-case scenarios, eventually turning on the cascade of stress chemicals and emotions. Look there, on the long run, a person's body and mind can be a hostile environment for chronic stress when aversive experiences such as traumatic early childhood or abnormal life events in later life are experienced. The body and the surrounding environment can be seen as a coupled system, blurring its physical separations. The environment within our bodies cooperate with the environments outside. Every object, thing, place, or situation has a neurological network and an emotional component assigned to it. The radically changing world puts human existence, perception, cognition, and technology in constant weave. Where chronic stress emotions are stimulated by information perceived from the outer environment and filtered by our cognition. What we perceive as threatening information are etched in our neural architecture, physically affecting our DNA, genes, cells, and brains, mentally affecting our cognition and perception. Spatial fabrications such as perceptual adaptation, creating new landing sites, and hacking the thinking-feeling loop through innovative technologies are ways to alter human emotions from stressful to joyful ones. Biologically, stress begins with the HPA axis. The brain receives information that there is a threat, whether by encountering a stressful information or imagining an unpleasant situation. A gland in the brain relays a signal through the blood vessels to a gland on the kidney, which releases cortisol and other hormones, causing psychological and physical changes, compromising the immune system and the gut functions. High levels of cortisol cause deep belly fat. This type of fat is an organ that actively releases immune system chemicals called cytokinins that increase your risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease and slow the rate you heal. Chronic stress is also associated with the shortening of telomeres. Telomeres allow DNA to get copied every time a cell divides without damaging the cell's genetic code, and they shorten with each cell division. When telomeres becomes too short, a cell can no longer divide and it dies. Normally, when a signal reaches the brain and the different body cells, a gene makes a protein. Here, in the state of chronic stress, the constant alarming signals cause the genes to express a different quality of proteins, pushing an unhealthy expression of genes. Simply changing the external environment does not necessarily wear out our reaction to the stressful signals. But by altering perceptual and sensational information, we activate experience-dependent genes. Those genes are responsible for stem cells getting the instructions to transform into whatever type of cell the body needs, replacing damaged ones. When you change your emotions and perception of surrounding reality, you can affect the expression of your genes and stress coping mechanisms. The relation between our brains, emotions, and physical environments include image schemas. A very simple example of image schemas. Here, look. There is a silver web in the tunnel. The web is in contact with the tunnel. The web is horizontally oriented with respect to the tunnel. The web is supported by the tunnel. Not every image has a concept in, but every image has the concepts contact, horizontal orientation, and support. Each of these is an elementary image schema. Those schemas are one of many examples affecting the way we perceive, feel, and imagine. Hacking perception and cognition via spatial design can contribute to altering the emotions of stress into joyful ones that eventually would affect our health.
I'm not me. I reside. Superior. Mutated. Akin. You, Sheldon, my exterior. fluxes. You collapse into soil, into daylight. Tungsten, ready-made, into oceans of waste. In stasis, you reside in a lost landscape. You collide. I am you, but friend. All encompassing, prosperous, and wealthy. Tucked into the soil. Of your remains, your flesh, your mortality. I am, but are you?
Are you still there? Oh, hello. When the first lockdown happened, I remember the first night somewhere in March, and we had the doors open to our terrace, and somebody at some point said, "Oh, we should all be quiet because I can hear a bird." That would never happen before because it was always just that background noise was always so intense.
It's a happy vibe and everyone is happy and they greet each other. But at nighttime it's like everyone is fighting and throwing stuff at each other. But now it's, as I said, the virus, it's not like that, so I'm really happy.
It's nice to wake up in the morning and the first thing you hear is the birds singing. So that is becoming the natural alarm of the neighborhood, and it's quite nice. Yeah, it's almost like they're reclaiming what's rightfully theirs, and it's nice to see that.
I obviously do miss the liveliness. In a way, it's also really dead now. And it's a bit eerie that it's just now empty windows. I do miss the vibe.
I like people. I like the movement of the people there, you know? Yeah, I think it belongs to Amsterdam. It's the heart of the city.
The tourists and the prostitutes and the coffee shops is part of what makes this part of the town, of course. So it's also something you have to bear in mind. But
also, the gentrification is something you don't want that in the red light district. You want to keep it raw as well, and also you want to give it back to the people.
In moments of disorientation, we became aware of what it meant to be orientated. Suddenly, we experienced orientation as something we did not have. How did we know or feel where we were? By lining ourselves up with the features of the ground we inhabit, the sky that surrounds us, or the imaginary lines that cut through maps.
North of Amsterdam? Absolutely. This is a neighborhood with ambition. A plucky character with the city in its sight. It's like the trailblazing younger sibling of Amsterdam with its own edgy style and authenticity. There's a raw energy that flows around the area, a sense of possibility. No wonder so many cool hotspots have set up shop nearby. When your neighbors are Stork, the 8M Tower and the Eiffel Museum, you know you're in good company. So, settler, are you a pioneer? Sure you are. Come and join a new frontier.
remember we went to this rave in the former bowling alley. We drank cocktails infused with Madame Jeanette peppers. We were running through a landscape of partial perspectives, escaping the lines that direct us. "30 spokes meet in the hub. Where the wheel isn't, is where it's useful. Hollowed out, clay makes a pot. Where the pot's not, is where it's useful. Cut doors and windows to make a room. Where the room isn't, there's room for you. So the profit in what is in the use of what isn't."
was where I was. But then
Vengo del lugar en el cosmos donde la materia fue creada. Espero encontrar una forma que me habite, y mientras viajo, cambio. Espero mi turno al costado de la Yacana, la constelación que camina lenta, atravesando juntos el río de la Vía Láctea. Floto ingrávido, y me elevo sobre este enorme silencio. En el centro de la Cruz del Sur, me detengo a mirar a los Andes. Llevo conmigo pedacitos de meteorito, de polvo, de estrellas muertas y un poco de gas. Estoy listo para manosear la tierra. Ya en terreno, he llegado. Me acurruco sobre las lágrimas del volcán Licancabur y la montaña Quimal. Ambos lloran lágrimas de sal porque extrañan sus sombras. Ese llanto, me cuentan, muere bajo el sol y así nacen los salares. Nacen justo en aquel momento en que las sombras se tocan, trenzando una cordillera hecha de sal. Sigo mi camino, despacio, bajando dentro de la tierra. A 30 metros me hundo. Cambio de estado, cambio de forma, y voy recolectando cargas en mi pequeño lomo. Colecciono partículas que las estrellas y meteoritos tiran sobre el paisaje que me cubre. Colecciono también historias ocultas en el suelo, pedacitos de hueso y cenizas que hay en la tierra. Mi pequeño lomo se encorva con el peso de tantos secretos. Quieto, en el subsuelo, espero. Me encuentro con fantasmas que me cuentan de su muerte, de la dictadura. No tienen nombre ni tumba. Tienen cuerpos que añoran a ser encontrados. Me deslizo por las cavidades de este espacio subterráneo y voy recolectando las piezas de este puzzle. Palabras de una historia que sigue latiendo entre las arenas. Me deslizo por una piel que casi ya no existe, tan seca, que ya no tiene huellas en las puntas de los dedos. El desierto es un espacio donde vive lo que no está vivo, un cementerio sin cemento, sin placas que lleven los nombres de quienes se perdieron allí. Con memoriales que decoran un paisaje ausente y callado. Ahora llegan hombres que llevan escrito su nombre, hombres que se mueven, que no son como los fantasmas que ya conozco. Me van extrayendo con sus máquinas del duro suelo que me cobija, de la misma forma que yo traigo recuerdos. Ellos tiran de mí hacia el cielo abierto. Voy sintiendo el bombeo que me lleva a otro lugar. Un turista se saca fotos en los reflejos de la planicie. Lo puedo sentir. Pero él no ha podido entrar a visitarme. He dejado el ecosistema en el que me había sepultado a mí mismo. Me encuentro en este líquido, combinado con agua y sol. Sigue sabiendo a sal. Voy moviéndome de fosa en fosa. Cuesta vivir así. Los operadores se asoman, ajustan sus máquinas. Chequean mi estado flotante. A mi alrededor las cosas se evaporan lentamente. Estoy llegando a la última fosa, donde el trabajador está esperando para llevarme. Recolecto sobre mi pequeño lomo su mirada cansada, ese sol que quema la piel. Estoy en un lugar cerrado oscuro. Escucho entre murmuros que es una planta de purificación. Me mareo por las vueltas que dan las máquinas. Me deslizo de una a otra. Me lavan, me filtran. Pero mi carga de secretos y recuerdos sigue sobre mí. El último mecanismo es como el viento, un viento árido que me recuerda al desierto. Un viento que seca y señala un final. He sido purificado. Voy siendo envasado, parece que voy a viajar. Mi visión es cada vez más apretadita, como un huesito en una caja. Viajo sobre océanos, sin presenciar nada. Solo escucho al agua que ahí afuera saluda.
Ahora vivo en tu computador. A través de mí cruza un hormigueo que me hace cosquillas. Me siento quieto en este espacio limitado. Apenas puedo moverme dentro de este contenedor de aluminio que dice necesitarme. Mientras doy energía a tu pantalla y recargo tus baterías, dicen, estoy bien, aunque ya casi no encuentro nuevos tesoros para recolectar. Respiro una lenta vibración. Siento cómo se empieza a acabar la batería. Tengo cansancio. Trato de estrechar mi habilidad para ayudarte en cada 1% que pasa. Llevo sobre mi pequeño lomo mis cositas, el polvo de los espacios que he visitado, las piezas del cosmos, la arena del desierto, huesos diminutos, las cenizas de lo que ocultaron allí, las lágrimas de la montaña que se extraña, el sudor del trabajador que espera su paga. Estos pequeños pedacitos de historia se mueven de a poco, en la energía que entra y que sale, que se enciende y que se apaga, que viene y que se va.